front of us.
Welcome back to another edition of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show with Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris, joined with the co-host Jacob Mason. This is Rhea County week. Coach, getting into region play this week, a lot of excitement going back out on the road this week for the first time in 3 weeks. So just kind of talk about the transition into this week once you've been at home, especially you've had rivalry game with Cleveland last week, homecoming the week before. Just kind of how do you get back prepared to go on the road again?
Yeah, excited to go back on the road, honestly. I feel like we've played better on the road. And I feel like these 3 weeks at home have been tough games. We've kind of lost some identity, honestly, when you start looking at what we did early in the year versus where we've been the last 3 weeks. And a lot of that is due to our opponents. I thought we had 3 tough opponents. If you look at what Carter's done since our game, they've been on a little win streak now, and they beat Knox Carnes the other night by a couple points. So Knox Carnes obviously is a good football team. They got Deshaun Bishop, which was one of the best running backs in the state. So they've proven to be, kind of like I said that week. They're 0-3, but they're not 0-3 team. They're that's what the record says. That's kind of what we've talked about our guys. We're 2-4, yeah, but we're not really a 2-4 team. So hopefully we can get off that snide. Rhea County is very similar. They're 1-4, but they're not a 1-4 team.
No, not at all.
They definitely deserve all the respect in the world. And I feel like our coaching staff and players have given them that respect. And hopefully you see a different Walker Valley football team. I think we've done some things over the weekend that we felt like we needed to do to correct some of the issues we're having. I think it's a lot of things that, during practice, we're not making mistakes. We're doing exactly what we're coached to do, and sometimes the lights come on, and we kind of get out of our scheme and get out of our mind. So hopefully some of the stuff we're doing can kind of curb that a little and get us back to who we were early in the year. Get back to running the football. A lot of that is stuff that we've got to get back to, and maybe going on the road will give us that mentality back. So I really like our road mentality, and I think our kids are excited to get back kind of on the road and get back in that mentality and go to somewhere else. And we had a really good practice today. So hopefully we come out, over the next 2 days and have good practices and really talk about how you play within a Friday night game. Because, again, practice-wise, we had our best week of practice we've had all year last week. But for some reason, that didn't translate to Friday. So, we talked about on Friday night, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. So we're going to try some different things as a football team, as a football program, as a coaching staff with our plan, and see if it kind of leads to a better night on Friday night. Again, our kids are bought in. Our leadership has been awesome. It's been fun to watch our leadership all year really come back and fight through adversity, and they did that again today. The message today was pretty strong from our team, and hopefully we can continue that throughout this week.
Yeah, that's great. First of all, one thing that Jacob and I have been saying throughout our broadcast is, these games, and as cliche as it is, and you don't want to say you want to win every game, the past couple weeks, what we've said is, listen, the games that really count start this week with Rhea County being a region game.
Yeah. That was our message today. When we talked to our guys, and we were just like, hey, man, who's frustrated with the way the year's gone so far? And we all raise our hand. We're all frustrated. Who's disappointed in the way the year's gone this year? And we all raised our hand. We're definitely disappointed in where we're at. But then we raised our hand and said, who wants to go win a region? Everybody raised their hand.
It's doable.
Who wants to go host a playoff game? Everybody raised their hand. And it's like, well, the first 2, they're all behind you. You can't do anything about it. There's nothing you can do about being 2-4. I know we're disappointed. I know we're frustrated, but there's nothing we can do to change it. The last 2, they're right here in front of us. If you want to go win a region championship, you can do something about that. You can't do anything about being where we are right now, but you can do something about moving forward. And, the region's right here in front of us. 3 of our next 4 games are region games. That's the way the schedule's always set up. You're always going to be backloaded with region. So region's your opportunity to go play games that matter when it comes to the playoffs. So
it allows your team to develop throughout the season as well.
Yeah, so we're hopefully putting our best version of ourselves out there. But that's the message. Hey, everything we've done so far, we're still 1-0 in the region. And now we have 3 region games over the next 4 weeks. And we got an opportunity to just go play ball and see what happens. And if we can get back to who we were, running the football, playing good, hard-nosed defense. Last 2 weeks we haven't hit our point goal on defense. A lot of that is due to the way we couldn't move the ball offensively on Friday night. I thought our defense played really well Friday night. I know Jacob and I will talk about that here in a second, but I thought we played really well on defense. The reason we gave up, at the end, gave up those last 2 touchdowns is more of an offensive thing than a defensive thing. So hopefully we can get back to running the ball, get Evan back to a comfortable amount of attempts. And when we get him down to those attempts, he's been really successful. When we get to 25 and 30 is where it kind of gets wiry on us, gets squirrely. So hopefully we can get back to that.
Yeah, so going to Friday night, we'll talk about the defense. I agree. We talked about it on the broadcast. I did feel like the defense played well. You start at the very beginning of the game with just probably a busted coverage with Broadneck's taking one to the house on a special teams play, right? So you're behind the sticks 7 there and that stuff. Well, then the next play is one busted coverage over top for a 65-yard bomb. So now you're down 14-0. When really the drive before, your defense looks really good. They go out there and get a
3 and
out.
Yeah, 3 and out.
So it just was a few. We talked about it before, some big plays that just hurt. But all in all, I do feel like the defense played pretty well and a very talented, very quick. Micah Jordan's one of the fastest kids in our county. I talked about that. He's committed to Virginia Tech to play baseball. I'm pretty sure center field. One very, very quick kid. But just some of the athletes that went out there and they played well. But I thought our defense, held up pretty well as long as they could.
Our defense gave us a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it goes back to kind of Carter where we couldn't run the ball, and our defense gave us a chance, and that's what we can't keep putting our defense in that situation where they're just giving us a chance. We've got to give them some momentum as well. But we look at really that whole game. We got 4 3-and-outs. We got a 4th down stop. So that's 4 or 5 times that they gave us the ball back, just right back to us, that we weren't able to do anything offensively. But you get 4 3-and-outs and a 4th down stop, that's as good as a turnover. And now we're getting the ball right back on offense in favorable field position. But I thought our defense played really well. I thought Eli was kind of back to himself. He's kind of been playing outside of himself, trying to do too much, honestly. So it was nice to see him get back to himself. Zeke Garrison really coming on these last couple weeks as a sophomore. He was our defense player of the game. After watching film, he had 8 solo tackles, 1 assist, 1 tackle for loss. Thought he played really well, for a 10th grader out there that's really getting his first varsity snaps. Man, he's really come along and has given us a lot of options of moving guys around to different spots. But, yeah, I thought our defense played an outstanding game, and then at the end just kind of got tired for lack of, just gassed out for a little bit. But again, it's our offense have got to do a better job of just giving our defense a chance to rest, giving them some momentum by getting on the board. I thought we did that against Smith County, and we kind of lost that last week against Cleveland. But kudos to Cleveland, like you said. The opening kickoff was just a busted assignment that we worked on today. I think one big thing, we talk about, hey, what are some things you can do different? Because what we're doing is not working, right? I thought we had a great practice and it didn't translate to Friday. So what are the things that we're working on? Well, we had a fix-it period today. It's the first time we've ever done it. I got it from my buddy Chris Brown, one of my best friends in coaching. We were talking, and it was like, man, on Friday nights we just kind of lose our wits about us sometimes, and we do things wrong, and it's stuff that we do right all the time in practice, and we're doing it wrong on Friday nights. Like, what do you do about that? And he said, well, we have a period every Monday where we go fix the mistakes from the previous, and we do that where we were looking on film and saying, hey, these are the mistakes that we made, but we never go out and actually physically fix them. So today we went out and physically fixed the kickoff. Like, we did the kickoff 3 times. The first time it still didn't get kicked where we needed to get kicked, so we redid it. The second time we still misfit just a little bit, so we re-kicked it. And then the last time we did it right. And we said, hey, that's how you do it, right there. You just did it right, so you've proven me that you can do it right. And then we went and did the same thing on offense, same thing on defense, some of the throws that we missed. Hey, let's do it again. Let's physically go fix that throw. And Evan stood in there, missed, one of the vertical balls he missed again, just a hair too long. Completed it, but still wasn't exactly how we wanted it. So we went and ran that same play again. Throw it the way you're coached to throw it. And the next time, boom, he hits it right in the window. So, trying to show our kids the mistakes we make, but then go physically fix them is something that we're giving a shot and saying, and I think that what that does is it shows the importance of every single snap. The one play that I was just talking about was the play down the sideline to Brady Montgomery right before halftime, right? Wide open down the sideline, and we just overthrow it a little. And to the naked eye, you're like, man, like that's so close. But the way we coach that, it's got to be a window throw. So it's got to be shorter, make him slow down for it before you make him reach for it. So let's go fix that. And now we've shown, hey, we physically fixed that. So Evan will never make that mistake again, I promise you, because he's physically done it the right way. I thought that was a really good tip from Chris Brown. And it's something that we've incorporated into our system and say, hey, every snap that you play matters. Every snap, we went and redid the big post. Hey, we're going to be on top of it this time. Brady will never make the mistake of being down below that post again. Because now he understands, hey, if I'm on top of it, it turns into an interception. If I'm below it, it turns into over my head and it turns into a touchdown for them. So just trying to do things outside of our normal routine to fix those things. But man, I thought our defense gave us a great opportunity. To stay in that game for as long as we did. Really, in the third quarter, it's 20. Start of the fourth quarter, it's 23. So we're right there with it. We just got to keep plugging along. And like I said all year, guys, we're inexperienced on offense. We have a very inexperienced offense that's going to make mistakes. But we've learned so much over these last 6 weeks. Wins and losses, we've learned a ton. So now it's just about, hey, let's take what we've learned and let's produce something on a Friday night when it matters now that we're in region play.
Yeah, you brought up Zeke Garrison. Again, great defensive performance on a Friday night. I feel like he's just gaining confidence and gaining confidence and gaining confidence each week. Another guy we've seen a lot of is Roman Yulo.
Yeah.
He's starting to bust his way out. True freshman.
Yeah.
Just kind of speak about, even though the games haven't gone the way we wanted to, though, those are some valuable minutes for some really young guys that we talked about at the beginning of the year, the circles, right? Circling all those guys. Well, now in the future, you're not going to have as many of those circles because of guys like Roman and Zeke and those guys popping out.
Yeah, we knew Roman was going to be a dude.
Yeah.
Coming from the middle school, we've watched him for the last 3 years. He's a special talent, and we haven't got him the ball yet. We are so close the other night. He ran a nice little seam and settle, ran it perfectly. We kind of missed him on the backside of it. I thought it was going to be his first high school catch. That would have been really cool for him, even in a game where it's kind of gotten out of hand at that point. It would have been a cool opportunity just to see him get a catch. But it's coming. It's going to come for him. That kid has all the talent in the world. As a freshman, he's playing a ton of snaps for us offensively. He's going to let her. As a freshman, which rarely happens at this level. So, a freshman on the field, gaining experience. Hopefully we can get him the ball a little bit more. I obviously, he's been out there. He's blocking bigger guys. He understands. Those guys understand technique a little better, but he's fighting. And it's fun to watch a kid go out there that you knew was going to be good and see him learn and see him get better. And as he goes through this year, he's going to continue to learn. And now next year he can pull from this experience. So, I love the talent we have coming back. I think we got to get Connor Wehunt on the field more. Connor's an explosive kid. He's able to go get the ball. He finds a way to catch passes as good as any kid I've seen. So he's one that we've got to get out there a little bit more. Zeke on offense is going to be a really talented kid. Roman Yulo, our receiving core coming back, has got a chance to be really good. But we've got to get those guys experience. But yeah, anytime you get to see a kid like Roman get out there and compete, you knew he was going to be good, but for him to come in as a freshman and have the confidence to go do what he's doing shows what kind of special talent he is.
And he's getting some playing time in a good wide receiver room. There's depth at the receiver position at Walker Valley, and that's one of the positives, as you were talking about offensively, the positives, and along with the youth, with guys like Roman getting to play at wide receiver. One thing that we've noticed, we've talked about this a lot, we see the wide receivers getting open.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't always mesh with when we're blocking good or when Evan's able to step up in the pocket and deliver those throws as you talked about. But there's definitely room there for improvement and to see some big things happen.
Yeah, I thought our receivers played really well the other night. I think we had a couple drops that I wish we had back, on some big plays where we could have gotten some momentum going. But when you watch the film, man, there's open receivers all over the place. You know, Brady got open several times. Roman was open a couple times. Blaine was open several times. B's having a hard time getting open because he's got 3 guys on him
Double
all the
and triple
time.
coverage,
You know,
yeah.
when you have 2 games where you've had 3 touchdowns, you're going to get double and triple covered. So that's been a struggle for him. We're going to do some things, hopefully, with him where we're able to move him around a little bit more and get him to some different positions. I think that'll help, find ways to get him the ball different ways. So that's a plan that we have that we're going to start working on this week. Right now he's very stationary. He's the single receiver backside. And this year, when they've given him a single coverage, he's dominated. Last week they gave us double coverage and he had 4 or 5 catches for 60 yards and had a couple big first downs, but we're not able to get the ball to him consistently. So we got to find a way to move him around a little bit more, get him into some different positions to give him a chance to go make some more plays for us, because obviously he's been a big-time receiver for us. But I think our receiver room as a whole, I think Larkin's done a good job with his opportunities. I think you'll see some opportunities for him this week, throughout the game. So just different guys that have stepped up. But I think our receiver group's playing really well. I think it's our best offensive group right now. Now we got to bring along everybody else. And Evan's got to hit them when they're open. And Evan knows that. Listen, Evan, nobody took Friday night harder than Evan Swartzel. But I need him to understand, and I've told him multiple times, I believe in you. Everybody in our locker room believes in you. And we are just preaching that message to him. And as he gains confidence, as he gains experience, that kid's going to be a dude.
And to his credit, he's not forcing those throws to Tucker in double and triple coverage when they're not there.
Yeah, he's not. And sometimes I wish he would just, hey, take a shot at it and just see. Because I've called a play. I know it's not a great play, but let's see if we can force the ball in. But one thing we're doing really well offensively, and I know we've had 2 games where we just struggled to score, but one thing we've done well is protect the football. We had the 1 fumble and interception on our side of the field against Smith, but other than that,
and the fumble was from the blind side.
Yeah, it's from the blind side. We've done a really good job of not putting our defense in a bad spot with turnovers. We've got to do a better job at sustaining drives for sure, but we've done a really good job with turnovers, and a lot of that speaks to Evan. And as he gains experience, he's going to go make those plays, man. I fully believe in that kid. I think that kid's going to be really special. And we're going through some of the same hiccups. We had year 1 with Tucker Pope. But Tucker Pope, people forget, he had a great second year. But year 1, we had some bumps in the road.
Had some growing pains.
Yeah, and Evan's dealing with those same growing pains, and then we went on a little run, and then Tucker came back year 2. I hope it doesn't take until year 2. But we came back year 2 with so much more experience, and you saw just the blossoming of Tucker Pope, and you saw this great quarterback, that all-state quarterback, because he had that year of experience. So hopefully these 6 games will lead us into a 4-game stretch to end the season where he really is able to go make plays, gain a lot of confidence. I think a big part of that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. We've got to be able to run the football better. When you look at the games where Evans played lights out, he's had 15 to 20 throws. When we pass that 20 to 25 throw mark is where it kind of gets out of sorts, and it's not who we are. I mean, if you look at who we are, we're a team that needs to run the football with Deasy and Jackson Gibson at tight ends. We have Chipper Franks at a wide back that's playing really well. We can bump Eli up to a wide back as good as he is. We can do a lot of things with our depth. Our offensive line is huge across the board. We can give a lot of personnel groupings, and we've got to get back to that. We've been so locked in these past couple weeks to throw.
Back to that balance
We've
attack.
got to get back to it and a really run first, throw after attack. And we've got to do a better job of that. And I think that's the mindset we're going into this with. And that's who our identity is. And we've kind of lost our identity. If you look at the last 3 weeks, we have no identity. So offensively, we're getting back to that identity, and that's who we are. We know that's who we are. And what else does that do? Well, that keeps your defense from having 12, possessions a game. Now they're go back down to 8 possessions a game. If you give our defense 8 possessions a game, they're going to hold them under 21. Mm-hmm. And what was our goal? Let's hold them under 21 and let's go score 21. And that's what wins ball games. So we got to get back to that. That's a coaching thing. I'm always the first one to take blame. And I can look at myself and I can say, hey, this is what we're doing wrong as a coaching staff. and we can go fix that. Our kids believe in us. Our kids are doing everything we're asking them to do. So let's go put a great plan in front of our kids so we make sure that they understand exactly what we have to do to win ball games. And I think we've done a better job of that this week, and hopefully that translates.
Coach?
Before we move on from Evan, I feel like I saw a pretty cool moment on Friday night. After you addressed the team, we were up in the box, and I saw him stand up. Like you said, I know nobody probably took it harder than him. I just thought that was a cool moment. Personally, I think some things need to stay between team and coaches and players, so I'm not going to ask you what he said, but I did want to give him a shout-out because I watched leadership all the way from the booth, right? Standing up, and you could just see the passion in his hands and just in his stance of what he was trying to say and try to communicate. So I think you're right. You've got a great leader, and it's going to be exciting to watch to continue for him to grow.
Absolutely, man. That experience is invaluable. And at this level, we're not playing slouch teams. And it's not like we're playing, some of the teams that we were able to play to get to 9-3. We're playing some really good football teams, and because of that, the learning experience is a little bit tougher. You don't get those celebrations as much because every game's just a war. And we've been in a bunch of wars this year. And we've not done a great job of coming out in those one-score games, but man, the experience that he's gaining, I'm telling you, is going to produce something. And the fact that he's willing to stand up in front of the team and be that leader in that moment, that's really hard. It's a really hard moment for him, and the fact is he's able to stand in front of our team and be that leader shows a lot of his character and shows a lot of his upbringing and shows what he can be in the future. With him continuing to learn within our system.
Coach, I do think that is a reflection of good leadership by you and your coaching staff, just to be frank about it. We've seen what you guys put in, week out over the past few years since you've been at Walker Valley. And I think with this offense specifically, there are brighter days ahead, especially as we get into region play. But one more positive before we take a commercial break that I want to talk about, kind of away from the game side of things, was the pediatric cancer awareness and how great first of all, Mr. Ethan Evers, who's helping produce this video right now, giving him a shout out. But that video with all the people that are affected in Bradley County by pediatric cancer and seeing all the yellow and the ribbons, just what a touching night up here at the MAC.
Yeah, really cool night. I was so proud of everybody involved. It started out with just a simple text message of, hey, would y'all like to do ribbons on the back of your helmet? And it was like, absolutely, man. What else can we do? And it turned into a bunch of people saying, hey, what else can we do? What else can we do? What else can we do? And it turned into a really, really cool night. I wish I could have been out there in the pregame. It's kind of that weird moment where, we're trying to get ready, but I know something big's happening out there. But I talked to a lot of people that were around it, that were able to watch it. And that moment in the pregame where you brought the families out onto the field, and then we took a moment just to celebrate those families and bring awareness to what they're going through. A lot of times, I hate losing football games. I hate it. It's one of my least favorite things in the world to do. But man, I got to go home to two kids that are really healthy kids that woke up on Saturday morning. We went and played baseball all day. We got to watch Brindley go do gymnastics and all these things that, I hate losing. But man, there's families dealing with some real life and death stuff. Every single day, and they don't get breaks. They don't get time to relax. They don't get opportunities to go play baseball. They are in the war every single day. And for us to be able to bring awareness to that and celebrate those families and put our arm around those families and say we love them and we support you and anything you need, please let us know, was so awesome to see from our crowd, from Cleveland's crowd, just to take a moment and say, hey, we're with you. And we're about to play a football game, and we're going to hate each other for a little while, but then know that our arms are around you families. And that was a really cool night, and I was so proud just to be a small part in what that night was. But, man, those families have been awesome. It was a really cool experience to meet them and put my arm around them and see, Lana Best's family, who's a family I've been really close with. Lana Best's mom was there. On the field. So just a really special moment, and I will remember that moment, and I hope we do this every year from now on. I think it's something where I'm going to make sure that we have a home game scheduled in September, and we're going to have a gold night every single year because we need to put our arms around these families in our community, and that was a cool night for us.
That's awesome. We appreciate you guys doing that. So once again, you are watching and listening to the Coach Akins Coaches Show, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the second part of the interview.
Welcome back to the Walker Valley Coaches Show. I'm Jacob Mason here with Coach Akins and my buddy Andy Morris. It is Rhea County week at Rhea County, correct, Coach? 7:30?
7:30.
So Rhea County, kind of just talk about, I know in history's past they play kind of the same football almost every year, that toe-to-toe linemen just really try to shove it down your throat and then throw over top, try to pop you over top. Is that kind of the same identity that we're going to be looking at?
Yeah, they're similar. They're not exactly like they have been. They've dropped tight end. So the past few years, they've had a tight end involved as well, which adds another gap, which adds a little more frustration to it. They don't have the same tight end that they've had. So they've moved to a two-receiver set out of it. Their tight end last 2 years was amazing. He was so good, and he made them really go. But they still have so much skill back. They're breaking in a bunch of new offensive linemen. So it's been kind of a learning curve for the offensive line, but they're getting into their stride, and you see that with them scoring, 38 on Anderson County, 28 on Ottawa. They've done a much better job as the season's gone on being able to score points. They struggled against Red Bank the other night, but man, Red Bank, after watching the film, they're just so good at getting stuff on the ground. They're so athletic that you'd love to say, hey, Red Bank held them to 3, so anybody can. But Red Bank has a little different dudes in the back end that's able to get them on the ground and make them snap it again.
Red Bank's a good football team.
Absolutely, and that's going to be key, is getting them on the ground and making them snap it again. Because if you make them snap it again, hopefully that turns into eventually a mistake and a negative play, and you get a negative play, and then you're able to get a stop. So that's going to be a key for us, is make sure we make them snap it again. Even if they're snapping it from the 6-yard line because they ran a 40-yard run, make them snap it again from the 6. Make them snap it again from the 4. Make it, and then hopefully you get a negative play and it leads to a field goal instead of a touchdown. So that's what we're preaching to our defense. It's a hard-nosed, nasty game. It's not going to be fun. They're going to run right at you. Jackson Gibson and Connor Phillips are not going to have fun nights. It's not going to be something where we're like, man, that was so much fun. You're not going to get to rush the passer tonight. It's going to be something that you've got to stick your nose and grind it out.
Get dirty, right?
Yeah, and we're going to have to see, is Zeke willing to step up and do those things? Is Tucker Owen be willing to step up and do those things? Can Brady get it on the ground if it breaks through the line? One good thing about this year, we got Eli back for this game. Last year he missed this game. And a lot of the problems we had is because we didn't have Eli there in the middle. So Eli's going to be a big part of what happens on Friday night. Hopefully, if we look up and Eli had a 20-tackle game, I feel really good about what we did defensively. If we look up and Eli got blocked all night, then we got some issues that we got to probably had a rough Friday night. So really looking forward to seeing Eli play against this offense. But they do look a little bit different. The biggest thing that they do have going for them is they still got that running back that rushed for 2,000 some odd yards last year. They still got the fullback who's a really good player. He's back healthy. He really hurt us last year and then ended up tearing his ACL pretty bad, but he's back and healthy, and they still got that quarterback. And that quarterback is dynamic, and he can go. We got to make sure we have eyes on him all the time. It's a little different than the Smith County thing because the Smith County's in shotgun. You're looking right at it. This kid's going to fake it and then boot off of it, and it's going to put you in some bind. So we got to make sure we have great eye discipline, make sure we're doing what we're coached to do every single snap, and hopefully that leads to a successful defensive night. Red Bank won this game with their defense. It was 7-3. They did not score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
Their touchdown was a special teams touchdown. So our defense got to understand they can go win this game. It's going to take a hard-nosed effort. They're going to have to get stops, but they can go take this game over and win it. We have the talent to do it. Are we willing to grind it out like you're going to have to win a ball game like this? The scary thing is that when they fake it and then they throw it over top.
Right.
And we've got to, again, have great eye discipline. Our DBs have got to make sure they're reading their keys, doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The wing releases, it's this. If the tight end, if they do run with a tight end and he releases, you've got to have your eyes on him. So having great eye discipline and making sure that you're not too quick to get involved in the run, but because that's when they hit the pass over top of you. So we're going to have great discipline and grind it out defensively, but it is a little bit different than you've seen in the past without the tight end.
Yeah, I heard a stat on the radio earlier, I guess it might have been Friday night after the game, that they returned all of their touchdowns outside of one, and that might have been that tight end. Or maybe they were talking about one player. All of their touchdowns from the previous
Except
season
for one player. That would make sense.
Had returned. So that would make sense with what you just said with those skill guys.
Yeah, really, really talented backfield. Their fullback is as good a fullback in that system as you're going to find. The wing, number 32, I can't remember his name, but he was a 2,000-yard rusher for him last year. And then the quarterback. Those three guys, everything goes through those three guys. So we got to make sure that we have all three accounted for and that we're willing to go make a tackle over and over and over. Get them in the long yardage, and we get them in the long yardage. Hopefully we can make them make a mistake.
And, Coach, talking about their quarterback, this is something that we've talked about before. This is the same young man that was the starting quarterback as a freshman.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. So a lot of experience, and he's coming back again after this year. Yeah. But he does it just – from what we've seen in the past from him, the dynamic he adds to their offense is not, as you said, not only can they run the ball, but he's able to make those over-the-top dump passes. Again, this is where we're excited because Walker Valley's a defensive school now.
Yeah, it's been – we really are, man. It's weird to change the way. It's not the weird. It's what we worked for. I mean, we worked for. When we came in here, we said, hey, we have to be a defensive mindset team. We have to be dogs on defense all the time. We've kind of built that culture, and I think you saw it last week. I know the scoreboard didn't say it, but man, we still played really hard on defense.
Logged a lot of snaps on defense.
Man, we had, and you get 4 3-and-outs. That's a really good night defensively. You get a 4th down stop. That's a really good night defensively. So watching our defense play, man, especially in the first 4 games. You know, a Smith County team really is the only team that's gone out and just gotten the scoreboard, you know, where we just really struggled to stop them. And even then, you know, we created some turnovers or not some turnovers, but we created some stops, made them punt several times. So it's just we are a defensive mindset team, and we've got to make our offense reflect who we are on defense.
Yeah, if you can capitalize on those opportunities, you're talking about very different ball games in the past 3 weeks.
At least 3 of the first 4. Yeah. You know, I think last week they kind of got on us, and we were. But even if we score, make it 20-10, now it's a different ball game. It's a little more tight. It's a little more pressure on them. We just weren't able to do that. But you look at the first 3 losses we had; they were all within 17 points. We were 17 points away from 5-1. Cleveland probably beats us no matter what. But if we find a way to just score one more time against 3 opponents, I think you're looking at a totally different record. But again, you can't go back and do anything about those. They're in the past.
Got to learn
They're
from
over.
them.
So let's learn from them, and let's be ready to make those plays that kind of make a difference in the game. And I think, you know, that's something we're practicing now. It's something that we said, hey, let's fix it. We said it, but now we're actually physically practicing those things. So hopefully that translates. But, man, it's going to be a big night Friday night. It's going to be a great opportunity. Everything we want is right here in front of us. And we're just going to have to go play a great game against a team that, you know, we've never won at Rhea County before. Walker Valley's never won at Rhea County. But we had never won at Ooltewah, and we did that this year. So we have an opportunity right here in front of us to go do it. It's going to take a great game plan. It's going to take us running the football. It's going to take our offense matching who our defense is, giving our defense a chance to rest. So we're going to have to do some things that we haven't done in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But again, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. That's insanity, right? Mm-hmm. If you expect something different, you're insane. So we're going to try to do something different and try to get different results. And I think it's going back to who we were those first 3 games. We need to run, you know, tough, hard-nosed run game, and then come back and keep Evan in that window of throws that he's really good at.
So, Coach, once again, thanks for your time again this week. We look forward. We're back into region play, as Coach said, this Friday, 7:30 kickoff at Rhea County. Come out, be loud, be proud of your Mustangs, support them, and you'll be able to listen to Jacob and I pregame starting around 6:30 on Sports 99.1 with kickoff once again back in region play at 7:30 at Rhea County High School. One Valley. Thank you guys for joining us.